Registration under GST law is a simple online process. In this video, we will take a look at its purpose and benefits, the process for registration and other key details. GST registration is PAN-based. Registration under GST law allocates a 15-digit unique registration number to the supplier of goods or services or both. Registration also enables business to charge and collect tax, to claim input tax credit for inward supplies and to pay tax on the supply. Every supplier of taxable goods or services is required to register under GST. There are certain exemptions for small businesses with an aggregate turnover below Rs 40 lakhs for goods or below Rs 20 lakhs for services. However, this exemption limit is different for suppliers registered in few states. Any businesses below threshold exemption limit may voluntarily register under GST. There are certain types of suppliers who must compulsorily register irrespective of their turnover. Person making any interstate supply of goods, even if aggregate turnover is less than threshold limit. Recipient of supplies on which tax is payable on reverse charge basis. Persons who are required to pay tax under subsection 5 of section 9 of CGST Act, like passenger transport service by radio taxi, etc., accommodation services in certain cases, housekeeping services, restaurant services in certain cases, etc. Agents supplying on behalf of other taxable persons. E-commerce operators who are required to collect TCS. Persons except supplier of services supplying via e-commerce operators who is required to collect TCS. Persons who deduct TDS. Input service distributors. OIDAR service providers. Casual taxable persons who occasionally deal in taxable goods or services without a fixed place of business in the state from which supplies are made, and non-resident taxable persons without a fixed place of business or residence in India. Such taxpayers are provided registration within 90 days validity, which can once be extended for further period up to 90 days. If business supplies are made from more than one state, the taxpayer should obtain separate GST registration in each state. For instance, if a medical equipment supplier supplies the products from UP and Karnataka, such supplier is required to take separate GST registration for both states separately. However, if the supplier has more than one place of business in one state, he may apply for separate registration for each of such place of business, or get all such additional place of business added into the GST registration taken for the principal place of business located in the same state. Any person liable for registration under GST law must apply within 30 days from the date he became liable for such registration. Documents required for GST registration are PAN of the applicant, Aadhaar card, proof of business registration or incorporation certificate, identity and address proof of promoters or directors or proprietors or partners, etc. with photographs, address proof of the place of business, bank account statement or cancelled check. Digital signature, mandatory for companies and LLP, or e-signature. Letter of authorization or board resolution for authorized signatory. Persons who wish to register under GST are required to visit the GST portal www.gst.gov.in and click on Services. Then, on Registration, and select New Registration. After filling in all the required details in the Part A form, click Proceed. Here, GST portal displays GST INs, Provisional IDs, UINs, GSTP IDs mapped to the same PAN across India. Different color code denotes different status of ARN. You can download the status details by clicking the Download button. After you click Proceed, page from mobile and email verification through one-time password or OTP appears. And then a 15-digit temporary reference number or TRN is generated. Your TRN is sent to you via SMS and email, which is valid for 15 days. On basis of this TRN, you can now file Part B of registration. In Part B, you need to enter details and upload document relating to business, promoter or partners, authorized signatory, authorized representative, principal place of business, additional places of business, goods and services, state-specific information and Aadhaar authentication, then verify it using digital signature or e-signature. After completion of this process, an application reference number or ARN is sent to the registered mobile number. Using ARN, the registration application status can be tracked on the GST portal. If the application and accompanying documents are found in order, proper officer shall approve the registration within 7 days, and GST registration certificate shall be generated. If the application is found to be deficient or any clarification is required, Notice in Form GST Reg 03 is issued to the applicant within 7 working days. Thereafter, the applicant will have to submit the deficient documents or clarification within 7 working days of issue of notice in Form GST Reg 04. Proper officer will take further action on that reply within 7 working days from the date of the receipt of such clarification or information or documents. If found satisfactory, he shall approve the GST registration and GST registration certificate will be generated, or else may reject the registration application via GST Reg 05, indicating the reasons for such rejection. If the proper officer doesn't take any action in 7 working days, the application will be deemed to be approved and GST registration certificate will be generated. Let's understand the process when an applicant failed to undergo authentication of Aadhaar. If the application and accompanying documents are found in order, proper officer shall mark the application for mandatory site visit. Where the application found to be deficient or any clarification is required, notice in Form GST Reg 03 is issued to the applicant within 7 working days. Thereafter, the applicant will have to submit the deficient documents or clarification within 7 working days of issue of notice in Form GST Reg 04. Proper officer would take further action on that reply within 7 working days from the date of the receipt of such clarification or information or documents. If found satisfactory, he shall mark the application for mandatory site visit, or else may reject the registration application via GST Reg 05, indicating the reasons for such rejection within 30 days from the date of submission of application. Physical verification of principal place of business is conducted in the presence of applicant, details of which are to be uploaded on the common portal via Form GST Reg 30 within a period of 15 working days following the date of such verification. Proper officer, on receipt of verification report, shall approve the registration and GST registration certificate will be generated. else may reject the registration application via GST Reg 05, indicating the reasons for such rejection. If proper officer doesn't take any action within 13 days from the date of submission of application, the application for grant of registration shall be deemed to be approved and GST registration certificate will be generated. Upon registration, the applicant is allotted a GST identification number in which the first 2 digits represent the state code. The next 10 digits represent the PAN of the person or business entity. The 13th digit is the entity number of the same PAN holder in a state. The 14th digit is alphabet Z by default, and the last digit is checksum digit. Applicants are also provided the facility for amendments in their GST registration, like updating mobile number and email ID for authorized signatory without any specific approval from the tax authority. However, changes in certain core information like the legal name of the entity, its principal place of business, changes in partners, directors, etc. require approval. For more information, please visit www.cbic.gov.in.